On a packed transatlantic flight, a black CO, dressed in a tailored suit and clutching a first-class boarding pass, was abruptly removed from his seat by a flight crew citing policy. Humiliated but undeterred, he leveraged his corporate influence to ground the airline's operations, turning a moment of injustice into a seismic reckoning for the entire company. Malik Thompson stood at the gate of JFK International Airport, his boarding pass in hand, ready to board Flight 472 to London. At 45, Thompson was the CEO of Horizon Ventures, a private equity firm with a portfolio that spanned tech startups, real estate, and, crucially, aviation. His rise from a working-class background to one of the most powerful black executives in the industry was a story of grit and strategy. Today, he was traveling to meet with investors in London, a routine trip for a man whose decisions moved millions of dollars. Thompson adjusted his tie, nodded to the gate agent, and walked down the jetway. His first-class ticket ensured priority boarding, and he settled into Seat 2A, a spacious window seat with extra legroom. He placed his briefcase in the overhead bin and opened his tablet to review notes for the upcoming meeting. The cabin was quiet, the hum of pre-flight preparations barely noticeable. Thompson was used to the rhythm of air travel. Hundreds of flights over the years had made him a seasoned passenger. As the boarding process continued, a flight attendant approached, her expression neutral but firm. "Sir, can I see your boarding pass?" she asked, her voice professional but clipped. Her name tag read Karen. Thompson handed over the pass, expecting a quick verification. "Here you go," he said, offering a polite smile. Karen studied the pass, her brow furrowing. "There seems to be an issue," she said. "This seat is reserved for another passenger. I'll need you to move to economy." Thompson's smile faded. "There must be a mistake," he said calmly. "I booked this seat months ago. First class, 2A. It's confirmed on my pass." Karen didn't look convinced. "I'm sorry, sir, but we've had a last-minute reassignment. You'll need to take a seat in economy. We'll sort this out after takeoff." Thompson's jaw tightened. He'd faced enough subtle slights in his career to recognize when something wasn't right. "I'd like to speak to the lead flight attendant or the gate supervisor," he said, keeping his tone even but firm. Karen hesitated, then nodded. "One moment." She walked toward the front of the cabin, her steps brisk. Thompson waited, aware of the curious glances from other passengers. He wasn't one to make a scene, but he wasn't about to be shuffled to the back of the plane without an explanation. A few minutes later, Karen returned with a man in a pilot's uniform. Captain Robert Ellis, according to his insignia. Ellis was in his 50s, his expression stern. "Mr. Thompson, I understand there's a concern," he said, "but we need to keep boarding on schedule. Please take a seat in economy, and we'll address this later." Thompson leaned forward slightly, his voice low but clear. "Captain, I paid for the seat. I have a confirmed first-class ticket. If there's been an overbooking or a mix-up, I'm happy to discuss it, but I'm not moving without a valid reason." Ellis's eyes narrowed. "We're not debating this, sir. Airline policy allows us to reassign seats as needed. You're holding up the flight. Move now, or we'll have security escort you off." The words hit Thompson like a slap. He'd dealt with prejudice before, subtle and overt, but this was blatant. The cabin was now silent, all eyes on exchange. A white passenger in a nearby first-class seat shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. Thompson noticed another passenger, a woman in a business suit, filming the interaction on her phone. "I'm not causing a delay," Thompson said, his voice steady. "I'm asking for what I'm entitled to. If you can show me a policy that justifies this, I'll comply. Otherwise, I'd like to speak to someone with authority to explain why I'm being singled out." Ellis's face reddened. "That's enough," he snapped. "You're disrupting the flight. Security's on their way." Thompson exhaled, his mind racing. He knew how this could escalate. Viral videos, headlines, accusations of causing a scene. But he also knew his rights, and more importantly, he knew his leverage. Horizon Ventures held a 22% stake in Skyway Airlines, the carrier operating this flight. That stake gave Thompson's firm significant influence over the airline's board and operations. He wasn't just a passenger. He was a power player in the industry. Security arrived. 2 officers in airport uniforms. "Sir, you need to come with us," one said, his tone professional but firm. Thompson stood, his movements deliberate. "I'll comply," he said, "but this isn't over." He gathered his briefcase and walked down the aisle, aware of the whispers and stares. As he passed a woman filming, she gave him a small nod, as if to say she'd seen everything. At the gate, Thompson was met by a harried gate supervisor, a woman named Linda, who looked apologetic. "Mr. Thompson, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience," she said. "There was a mix-up with the manifest. We can get you on the next flight, in first class, no charge." Thompson shook his head. "I don't want another flight. I want to know why I was removed from a seat I paid for while others weren't questioned. And I want it in writing." Linda's face fell. "I'll need to check with management," she said. "Can you wait here?" "I'll wait," Thompson said, taking a seat in the gate area. He pulled out his phone and sent a quick message to his executive assistant, Rachel. "Skyway just removed me from first class. No explanation. Start pulling our files on their board and financials." Rachel's response was immediate. "On it. Want me to call legal?" "Not yet," Thompson replied. "But be ready." Over the next hour, Thompson sat calmly, his mind working through the situation. He wasn't just angry, he was strategic. Skyway Airlines had been struggling financially, relying on Horizon Ventures investment to stay afloat. Thompson's firm had a seat on the board, and he personally knew the airline CEO, David Whitaker. They'd met at industry conferences, shared drinks, discussed mergers. Whitaker respected Thompson's influence, even if their relationship wasn't warm. Linda returned with a printed apology letter and a voucher for a future flight. "This is all we can offer right now," she said. "The flight's already taken off, but we'll ensure you're on the next one." Thompson took the letter, but didn't open it. "I need to speak with David Whitaker," he said. "Now." Linda blinked. "The CEO? I'm not sure." "Tell him Malik Thompson is calling," he said, handing her his business card. "He'll take it." Linda hesitated, then nodded and disappeared to make the call. Thompson waited, his phone buzzing with updates from Rachel. She pulled Skyway's latest financials. $1.2 billion in debt, a 15% drop in stock value over the past year, and a board meeting scheduled for next week where Horizon's vote could sway a critical restructuring plan. When Linda returned, she looked flustered. "Mr. Whitaker is on the line," she said, handing Thompson a phone from the gate desk. "David," Thompson said, his voice calm but edged with steel. "I was just removed from first class on your flight to London. No explanation, no justification. Your crew threatened me with security. I want answers." Whitaker's voice was cautious. "Malik, I'm sorry to hear this. I'll look into it personally. Can we resolve this quietly?" "No," Thompson said. "This isn't about one flight. This is about your airline's treatment of passengers, specifically passengers who look like me. I'm not letting this go." Whitaker paused. "What are you asking for?" "I'm not asking," Thompson said. "I'm telling you. Horizon Ventures is pulling its support from your restructuring plan. We're also reviewing our entire investment in Skyway. You got until the board meeting to figure out how to make this right." The line went quiet. Whitaker knew what was at stake. Horizon's 22% stake gave Thompson's firm the power to block key decisions, potentially forcing Skyway into bankruptcy. "Malik, let's not escalate this," Whitaker said. "We can work this out." "You escalated it when your crew humiliated me," Thompson replied. "I'll be in touch." He hung up, handed the phone to Linda, and walked out of the terminal. Over the next few days, Thompson mobilized his team. Horizon Ventures' legal counsel drafted a letter to Skyway's board, outlining the incident and demanding a formal investigation into discriminatory practices. Rachel coordinated with industry contacts, leaking the story to a major business outlet. The woman's video from the flight went viral, amassing millions of views and sparking outrage online. Hashtags like #SkywayDiscrimination trended, and passengers began canceling bookings and protests. Thompson didn't stop there. He called an emergency meeting with Horizon's board, presenting Skyway's financial vulnerabilities. The airline's debt made it reliant on Horizon's capital, and Thompson proposed a bold move, withhold funding and push for a boardroom shakeup. His colleagues agreed, sensing an opportunity to either reform Skyway or force a sale to a competitor. By the time the board meeting arrived, Skyway was in chaos. Stock prices plummeted 30% as news of Horizon's potential withdrawal spread. Whitaker flew to New York to meet Thompson in person, offering a public apology, a $500,000 settlement, and a promise to retrain the entire flight crew. Thompson listened, his expression unreadable. "David, this isn't about money," he said. "It's about accountability. Your airline's culture allowed this to happen. I'm not interested in apologies. I want change." Whitaker leaned forward, his voice low. "What do you want, Malik? Name it." Thompson didn't hesitate. "Step down. Your board needs new leadership. And I want an independent audit of your hiring and training practices, with results made public. Until then, Horizon's pulling its funding." Whitaker's face paled. Resigning would end his career, but losing Horizon support could end the airline. "You're serious," he said. "Deadly," Thompson replied. 2 weeks later, Skyway announced Whitaker's resignation. The board appointed an interim CEO and agreed to Thompson's demands for an audit. The airline grounded its fleet for a day to conduct mandatory sensitivity training, a move that cost millions but signaled commitment to change. Thompson's firm maintained its stake, but installed a new board member to oversee reforms. Thompson never took the settlement. Instead, he donated the equivalent amount to a nonprofit supporting minority professionals in aviation. The viral video continued to circulate, but now it was paired with stories of Thompson's response. A black CEO who turned a personal slight into a systemic reckoning. When Thompson finally boarded another Skyway flight to London, he sat in first class, C2A. The crew greeted him with respect, their training manuals updated with a new section on passenger equity. Thompson didn't smile as he settled in. He was already thinking about his next meeting, his next move, his next fight. For him, this wasn't just about one airline. It was about ensuring no one else would face what he had.